I was given 2 days, the 2 weeks to live, and I'm still here over a year later. My name is Michael Barnes. I live in California. I was diagnosed with stage 4 neuroendocrine cancer of the esophagus, and I was diagnosed just over a year ago in January of 2024. So in December of 2023, I noticed it was hard to swallow. Not that I couldn't swallow, I would just have to like have a lot of water if I was eating or something like that. It wasn't anything serious. I could still eat everything. It was not. I wasn't really worried about it. But it slowly got worse. And then January 2nd, I made an appointment with my primary care physician who thought it might be like some infection. So he gave me some pills to take. That didn't work. Then he sent me to a another doctor who said uh, endoscopy. Or, and so I did that, and I was hoping they were just gonna. The doctor kind of said, "Yeah, we think it's." I forget exactly what it's called, but something where you have to go down and put something so it widens it. And he's like, "Yeah, young people get it all the time, not a big deal." So I was feeling comfortable. And then when I came out, I knew something was wrong because the look on his face. But he showed me pictures of my esophagus, and you could just see like he showed me a picture of a normal esophagus and then my esophagus, and you could just see tumor all over, like everywhere. And he said, if you weren't your age, I would expect cancer, but it's so rare at 31 to get this type of cancer. So they sent it out to get tested, and it took significantly longer for the test to get back because they had to send it to multiple places. And they ended up sending it to UCLA, I believe, who figured out the type of cancer because they thought it was 3 different types for a while. So I didn't get my official diagnosis of what it was until February, but I found out it was some type of cancer in January. Well, I'm a hypochondriac, so I was like, of course, before the endoscopy, I was like worried already, but my wife was like, "It's fine. It's not going to be anything. Just relax." And um, besides that, I just as soon as he said it, it didn't really hit me. But when on the car ride home, I was talking to my wife, and it just kind of hit me, just because that's like you never want to hear that from your doctor. I was just thinking that it was wrong, like it wasn't. It was denial. I was thinking, oh, it's something else. Well, I might have to have a surgery or something, and then they'll fix it. Not a big deal. So while I was worried, I was hoping for the best and it just to be something else. I had to go to the hospital. I went to City of Hope, which is a cancer hospital, and it's about 30 minutes from me, so it's close. Um, and I had to go there because couldn't get anything down, so I was extremely dehydrated. But I went there kind of right after I was diagnosed, and they admitted me, and then they did all sorts of tests. They did an MRI, a CT, an X-ray, ultrasound, everything, and most of it was fine. Like it hadn't spread a ton, so they were going to just put me on chemo and kind of go from there like a normal thing. Um, so that was the original plan, was chemotherapy and then do more scans in a couple months and see if it's working, and then go from there, and then do radiation as well at the same time as the chemotherapy. I was unable to do any radiation because I, at the time, I couldn't lay flat on my back because I couldn't swallow. So saliva would build up in my mouth, and I would end up coughing and choking, and I just couldn't lay down. So I couldn't do any radiation. I did do 2 or 3 full rounds of chemo along with immunotherapy. Um, But yeah, that's how it went. I mean, we're kind of doing the whole chemo thing, and then I started coughing up blood, and it wasn't a ton, but it started to become a ton. So one night I just woke my wife up and said, we have to go to the hospital. And um, so they checked me in, and we were there very early in the morning, around 5 a.m. And then by 6 p.m., they did a bronchoscopy. Um, and that is what found the the fistula. And when I went in for that, they thought they were just going to have to put a stent between my esophagus. And but it turned out that it was the biggest fistula, as they say, that any of the doctors that were in the room had seen. And he said he was surprised I was alive, and he said, um, unfortunately, you have 2 days to 2 weeks to live. So that was just, I kind of blacked out. I don't, that was like a crazy moment. Um, and my wife came in, they had already told her, so she knew. Um, but that's when things changed from cancer to like, you got a couple weeks, maybe a couple weeks to live. So I'm currently in hospice. So on February is when we found out about the fistula, and then I want to say it was March that it was the next day that they put me in hospice, and I've been in hospice ever since. But um, all that I'm taking medication wise are painkillers and like anxiety medication, and then a couple things to help me breathe. But that's about it. I'm really not on anything. So yeah, when I called, and I had to call my original doctor that told me I had cancer, and we hadn't spoken since they said the 2 days, the 2 weeks, and he like couldn't believe that I was alive, and he said for his own personal benefits, he would like me to do scans just to see like what's going on in there, because he doesn't know why they would be so wrong either. So we did get different opinions as soon as I went on hospice, because it was just so like we didn't see that coming at all. Um, so my wife actually found the emails of doctors at other hospitals from UCLA to there's a big hospital in Texas that's cancer based, I guess, and she would find their emails and email them to do like a FaceTime type thing just to get a second opinion. And we did, so we got two second opinions from two doctors from two hospitals, and they both agreed with what our doctor said. Um, so we did do that. As far as the scans, I've been debating whether or not to do it, because it's not fun hearing that everything's bad still, which I expect to hear, or worse. But also, I would like to know why, like, things have changed. Like, are things getting better? Are things getting worse? Is it the same? So I'm still considering doing scans. I just don't know when and how it'll affect me mentally. Definitely dealing with people, not in a bad way, but everybody's different, and everybody knows like certain people you can tell things, certain people you can't tell things, because it'll just go run wild, especially family members. So it was difficult balancing who I should tell what. It was difficult balancing, how much I console others than others. And it was difficult balancing. I learned that I had to say no because people wanted to come over, and I'm like, I can't have people over every day. People are sick. I don't want to get sick. When I get sick, it's way worse than before. Um, and just learning to say no, because I guess, like, sure, yeah, no problem normally. But yeah, that was definitely difficult. But um, besides that, just seeing how hard my wife has worked has been emotionally for me. It's been hard to see, but she's just been great. She's been like a nurse, so I'm very, very grateful for her. It's just um, it's just something you kind of have to try once and then do it again, and then it gets easier and easier the more that you do it. So yeah, advocating for yourself, like when you hear something from a doctor, know that yes, they're, there for your best interest, but there are other doctors who may have different opinions, so it's okay to say no to even a doctor. um, and it's okay to ask questions about research that you've done. If you have a question about, why can't I do this or why can't I try that type of thing. It's just because if nobody's going to advocate for you except for yourself and a close loved one if you have one. So advocate for yourself as soon as you can. My last message is I was given 2 days, the 2 weeks to live, and I'm still here over a year later. So don't listen to, guesses or guesstimates by the doctors. They can never get it exactly right. That's not a fault on theirs at all, but they're just kind of taking, an average and saying, hey, you have this much time. But just try to get your mental state right. Try to make up with all of those that you love or don't love so much, but maybe used to. And just make sure that you're comfortable with everything that you have going on right now. And make sure that you take care of what you want to take care of first, and then do the other thing.